I'm also inspired by this historical sweep from the Maori arrival to all the activities that New Zealand does. And so I tried, my crude artwork here is a video animation of the Maori arrival and then the Antarctic operations been going on for 60 years, and the recent launches to orbit, and then a potential future of applying this for Moon, Mars, and asteroids. One thing I like about the visions of the future is that it suddenly makes all of history come alive. That you're suddenly going back and saying, okay, what did this boat arrive with, and what tools did they have, and things like that. And so I've been trying to talk to some Maori communities about the concept of an interplanetary waka, of trying to apply the lessons of some of the greatest exploration that happened in the last 1,000 years, and applying it to what we might need in the future, because these massive ships are about to arrive in about 10 years. I think we'll suddenly have 100-person ships going out to space. So we started offering, yeah, this is a crazy photo from 1959 from the Trans-Antarctic expedition. They did put a footnote that said they were able to get this vehicle off the ice, off the crevasse and not fall in. That was pretty good. I don't know how they did that, but they. But yeah, this is from the UK, New Zealand Trans-Antarctic expedition in 1959 that Edmund Hillary was on, and this is the kind of problem with crevasses buried by a little slight covering of snow, and so. And also I love this image because this was chosen as a symbol of exploration challenges, and it was put on the Voyager record, and it's going outside the solar system right now. But we started in December with talking to Christchurch NZ about different possibilities of space challenges, to get people to apply their knowledge in these different areas. And Christchurch wanted to focus on Antarctica to build off the extensive experience. And so there's a lot of analogies between Antarctic operations and the future challenges on the Moon and Mars and other worlds. So we had another EHF fellow, Dan Price, was just completed this Ross Ice Shelf traverse, and so he went on this extensive part of the crossing the Ross Ice Shelf for 6 weeks, and took this path, and this is as large as the North Island in terms of the distance he traveled. It was a total of 4 people on the traverse, and they had to use everything they could obtain about, satellite data telling them about dangers with crevasses, and then sensors on the ground. And so that's where we want to improve this process, because the science actually demands measuring at the ice shelf here and measuring. They've been trying here to get over here. They actually tried for 4 years and didn't make it over here. So these are really critical spots for monitoring the changes in the environment based on climate change and things like that. So here they are planning in detail before the traverse, and this is the language we've chosen for the challenge with the consultation with the Antarctic experts. To navigate across Antarctica using new or current technologies or data in space or on the ice, find the best methods to identify hazards and map a path across the ice, and or design or prototype new sensor systems and algorithms to help vehicles navigate across the ice in Antarctica. So we intentionally made it really broad, so that people that, if you come up with an idea that might address some part of this, you're invited to propose that idea. And it could be, you could propose an idea, you could actually try, testing out a sensor. You get, all this is left to the judges to decide who's made a good contribution. And so if people who prototype something or design some algorithm that works, that they have an advantage over somebody who just proposes an idea. You have the judges are experts in Antarctica, so if you are proposing a lot of battery-powered drones, and they say, well, the battery's going to die in a few minutes, they would know the conditions there. So we can talk a little bit about, these are different kinds of skills and technology that might apply, from satellite data analysis on the first part to sensors like this LiDAR or robotics or drones, and all this converging to this challenge, which then can apply in lots of different extreme environments. There's in Arctic conditions or other environments, even desert ones. And then our interest is in how they apply to future space applications, because we think this is coming a lot faster than people realize. And then there's also traditional commercial applications like farming or detecting or maneuvering around through the mountains, something like that. Just to go into some more detail about the different parts of this, this is an example from Dan's analysis or the planning for this mission. It had Martin Forbes at University of Otago had analyzed the satellite data and with a human in the loop identified crevasse fields. Then this is some of the synthetic aperture radar data. And so they're coming along this track and they're trying to go over here. And it was really interesting that they could identify all these areas that are really bad to travel across. And they're trying to follow the lines where in between the crevasses here. And then they go 50 kilometers out of their way to avoid this area. And because any of these could swallow their vehicles. So then when they're on the ground, on the ice, they have these ground-penetrating radar on a boom on the lead vehicle. And here's Dan looking at the satellite image here and looking at the ground-penetrating radar data here. And so here's an example of how the ground-penetrating radar would detect a big crevasse like this. And so it's sort of the worst combination of human factors, because you're spending 8 hours in total boredom, but if you miss a little vertical line here, it's absolute terror. And so the other clue is if your boom suddenly drops, then you know you stop driving. And here are some examples of other people have tested things like little rovers in Greenland zigzagging to try to detect paths through the crevasses. There was a NASA rover program, but this is Dan out here. Once you find a crevasse, then you poke it and see how thick it is and see if you can actually drive over. So it's very manual intensive, but it's like a huge mission to go out to these one point, point by point in Antarctica. And sometimes they describe these things like they have a sensor and all they have to do is go out there and brush snow off. But it's like a massive multi-week effort to go out there and clean up the sensor and then come back. And and that really limits the science they can do. They were able to fly a drone down there, but and you can get some clues of what you can see. But there's some weather conditions where flying a drone is really tough. So we have judging criteria defined in detail on the website and in the application form. But mainly it's for technical feasibility and innovative solution, but also with a consideration about ease of implementation and other factors like team composition, and with a preference for if you can get to a prototype or a proof of concept. But really it's wide open so that anywhere from high school students to companies that are already working in this and just want to adapt to something that they're doing. It's a and also if you have a great solution on one aspect of the problem, that might be the winning part. But it's an effort just to get visibility to all these people ideas and get them involved and realize that they could participate in this. We're collecting resources as we go, including we're setting up training sessions around the country and videotaping and web links and sample data and software on the satellite data analysis side, and trying to get discussion groups going with experts on learning about the state of the art and how it might be improved. And we also are simultaneously building our portal and directory to have where teams can self-identify, and also a person can go in and say, I'm interested in this part, could I join a team and be involved in somehow.
So let me just talk a little bit more on the mechanics of the challenge. So we kicked off the challenge 2 weeks ago now, I guess, February in Christchurch. And it's going to be open for the next 3 months. It will end April 30th, or the application will close. But the application portal, which is based on SlideRoom, actually, you can start registering, and it won't, submit or finalize until you actually hit submit. And that could be on the 30th of April. And also the thing is that it's a 2-tiered, so which means that any applicant in region, so there's 5 regions that we've identified, and unfortunately I can't remember them off the top of my head right now, but there's 5 regions. Applicants actually apply to their own region, and there will be regional judges who will then evaluate those applicants, because by May 16th, they're going to be able to identify the finalists in all of those regions. And those finalists will come to Christchurch during Tech Week in May 24th to pitch, and then we'll find the actual, the grand prize winner. In terms of the application, again, it's fairly simple, really. This is the bulk of what you need to produce, and really, it's really those 2 things, the pitch presentation file, which is about 20 slides, of what you think your solution is, how you're going to do it, what's your plan, to a short video, also about giving more information, and maybe if you have a prototype, you can videotape what you've done. So those are really the main things. In terms of the prize, so any applicant essentially gets to be part of the community. We're trying to build, as Eric was saying, the SpaceBase portal is something that we want to create community in, and so all of the applicants can make use of the tool. There's going to be resources there as well, regardless of whether you finish applying or not. We've also partnered with several partners like Callahan Innovation and GQ Law, who focus on space policy, to help with the applicants during the challenge time period and also after. And then for the finalists, they're essentially winners in their regions. And so the finalists will get in kind at least 6 months of incubation and the mentorship during or in their region, so that they can actually work on their projects even further after the challenge, that it might become a business or a research project at some point. Then there's, for sure, there's even more mentorship that we're getting from the partners. And then a travel expense for one representative of the team to come to Christchurch and do the pitch. And then the last thing is that when we do find a winner, the winner gets like $40,000 in cash. Actually, up about like 3 days ago, this was just 15, and so we got more partners to pitch in, and now the prize pool is 40. And then again, Callahan Innovation will be giving more sort of technical and science sort of mentorship and time to the winner. So how can you be involved? Again, we're doing all of these briefings because we really want to get applicants from all over the regions. And if you, either you or if you know of anybody who is like interested in potentially applying for this, please show them the website. So the website's NZSpaceChallenge.com. There's a comprehensive FAQ on there that has like a lot more information. You can also find the resources in SpaceBase.co, which has all of the links and training that Eric was talking about. And then also, if you have questions about the application itself, applications at NZSpaceChallenge.com will be able to answer like any queries. And then again, join the community. Even if you're not really interested in applying, what we're trying to do with the SpaceBase community is that even if you're not still working in space today, but if you want to, that's really where we're like trying to build that community, so that you can find people who are already working there and maybe team up or find either work or projects that you might be interested in. And I think that's all for my part. I wanted to just basically highlight our sponsors and partners as well, and then we don't have the logos of all of the national and regional partners here, and of course Innovation Queenstown is one that we've
the best one.
that has helped us a lot with making this briefing happen. So before I hand it off to Eric, who actually will talk more about the kind of the experience in the Antarctic. Unfortunately, we didn't get an Antarctic speaker to come to today, but both Eric and I have actually been to Antarctica, not on the mainland side, but in the peninsula, and we've been gathering all of this information from all of the Antarctic speakers as well in the other briefings. So Eric will talk more a little bit on that. But if you have any questions at the moment on either just in general space, why New Zealand space, or like on the challenge, is there any questions?
So you mentioned there was, did I pick up correctly, that there was going to be within the community a possibility that application teams or teams who compete might recruit additional people through?
Yeah, so that is our plan. So right now, at the same time that we debuted the challenge, we also did a beta of the SpaceBase portal, of which, I mean, honestly, like right now it's buggy. Right. So we're still, the directory is there, but we're still working on the forum side. And so once we get that up and running, we want to have people be able to actually collaborate and actually ask, like, you know, I need a developer, or I need somebody with this skill, and that's how they could find each other. It's also a tool so that if you actually have a team, you can create an org within SpaceBase and use that as a tool for, essentially it's like an internal Slack for your team to be able to collaborate together, and then also bring other people, like mentors, in to the same kind of like org. Right. So at least that's sort of what we wanted to do in maybe a week or so.
Cool. Well, just one other question with respect to the, I guess it's more of a point of information with respect to the New Zealand's fantastic cultural background that represents for space. On your fantastic piece of artwork there, you missed one trick, I think, which was that that Captain Kirk, who's the colonial, Captain Kirk's based on Captain Cook, who's our colonial founding father.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So that definitely needs to go in your pitch deck.
Yeah. I need to get help with the video animators to make a real proper one. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Eric, you wanna?